Hi there, this is Kevin Tharp, and I am walking through our lab on looking at the data from my Spotify lists in Tableau Public. So at this point, I have already logged into exportify.net and I have logged on with my Spotify credentials and brought me to there's 58 playlists. Now I've exported all of these that have more than 0 songs in them, and I'm going to be using 3 of those in this things in this lab. So I go to my Tableau. I've already gone to my profile because that's where this starts, and I'm choosing Creative Viz. Now, what this does is it gives me access to the tools that will allow me to look at the data. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my first list that I want to look at, the CSV, and I'm just going to drop that in here. So this happens to be my Gotta Dance playlist, and you'll notice that that populates all over the place. So this is the data source, Gotta Dance, and it automatically put me in this tab down here. Well, where we actually do this is where we look at the data sources. Where we actually do the analysis is in these sheets down here. And the way you add new sheets is you choose a new worksheet down here. But we're just going to go to sheet one because that's where you start by default. When you do that, it processes the information in the data source that you've assigned to that sheet. And once it does that, you're going to find that it has pulled out information from the spreadsheet that I uploaded, which was my Gotta Dance, and you can see that right there, my Gotta Dance list. And you can see the metrics that are in here. The one that I want to focus on is danceability, but I want to use that as a dimension rather than a metric, so that it's sort of my main thing that I'm looking at. So what I need to do is I need to convert that to a dimension. Once I do that, you'll notice that it moves it from down here where it's sort of green right now to up here where it's kind of blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to add that danceability metric dimension to the column. So that's going to be my column. Now I need to look at what are the metrics that I want to explore about this danceability dimension. And I'm going to start with the options are here. And again, these come out of the top of the spreadsheet. I want to look at energy. So I'm going to grab energy. I'm going to move it over here to a row. And when I do, it automatically populates the data in there for danceability. So across here is danceability, and vertically is energy. So it's looking at the amount of energy uh, based upon this danceability um, dimension that we've added. So if I'm trying to use this to create a list of songs that have this high danceability based upon the energy, I need to know what the songs are, and it doesn't tell me that. So one of the nice things is I can come over here and I can grab the track name because that's going to tell me the name of the song. And I can just drag that up, and you'll notice that what it does is it brings in and it puts the label at the bottom of this for the name of each of the songs. So up here we have these different danceability measures. And you'll notice that in this particular case, there's 2 that have the same 0.571 danceability. So there's 2 different songs here. So each of these columns is actually a grouping of songs that have the same danceability score. And most of them are unique, but there are a few areas where that danceability is there's more than one song that has the same thing. And one of the things that I can do within these columns is I can rearrange it so that the data within that particular column uh, varies from high to low. And you'll see this one switching here. I'm going to move it back to low to high so that within this danceability category of 0.571, there's the 2 songs and they are organized within that column based upon their energy score, low to high. So there's a lot of tools in here. You can switch this, but we're not going to focus on that. But I encourage you to come in here and play with this as much as possible because what you're doing is taking data from just being data to something you can use to gain insights, to tell stories with. And that's what we're doing here today. So the first thing I need to do, or the next thing I need to do, I'm working in this sheet on the Gotta Dance. So I'm just going to rename this. So I click on that, right click, and I choose rename. And I'm going to call it Gotta Dance. Now I am going to be creating a sheet like this for 3 different sources. So what I need to do is I need to add a new worksheet, and I'd simply do that by coming down and clicking here. But now I need to add another data source. So I come up to the new data source, I click on that, and again I'm able to grab a playlist and bring it up there. So why don't I bring up oh, let's just try with what I call a mellow mix. So Doc T's mellow mix, one of my playlists. And then when I do that, you'll notice it brings me back down into this data source. Doc T's mellow mix is selected in there. So when I click on sheet 2, what it's going to do, it's going to process that data and bring it into sheet 2. Same thing is going to happen again here as we're going through. It is going to allow me to move that information. So I'm looking for danceability. I'm going to change that to a metric so that I'm consistent, or to a dimension so that I am consistent. I'm going to drag it up here. And then I was working off of inner energy, and I wanted to see the track name so that I could see the names. Now, if I wanted to, I could change this up. For this exercise, I want you to be consistent with what you turn in, but I go ahead and play. So maybe instead of energy, I want to go off liveliness. So I drag that up there, and it's going to give me a similar kind of thing. Now, I'm not going to get into the meaning of these metrics or how they came up with them. That's Spotify's thing. I can only work with the data, and I don't know exactly how these things are set up, but I'm going to be consistent in this, and so that we're going to be creating a dashboard in a few minutes and combining all of them. So I want to use consistent information in each of my sheets. So now that I have got this data there, I've got the Gotta Dance and I've got the sheet 2. Well, let's give that a name. Let's call it Doc T's Mellow Mix. And we have the same information in the 2 sheets that we're working with. Now I'm going to go ahead and add another one of these, and then I'm going to bring you in and show you how to turn them into a dashboard. Okay, so I added the list Guardians of the Galaxy, made a sheet for it. So you see I've got the 3 sheets now. What I want to do is I want to come in and I want to create a new dashboard here on the bottom. I click on that and it creates a new workspace for me. And what I'm going to do, you can see over here the sheets that I've set up within this project. So I'm just going to drag this Gotta Dance over here, and that looks pretty familiar. So there's that information. But the reason I'm doing this dashboard is to look at data, compare data from different lists. So now what I do is I click on this one and then I drag that, and you'll notice, watch what the shading is doing. It's telling me with that shading where I'm going to put it. I want to align these so that they're one over the top of the other so that it fits better. And you'll notice that when I do that, it creates a second one, and then I can grab the next list and I can drag that down, and I end up with 3 of these. So all in one place. So I can adjust the settings here. Try it, see how it works, what works for you. Ultimately, what you're trying to do here is you are trying to tell a story. Oops, not sure what I did there, but here's a good thing. I can go back. I can undo that just by using this back arrow. And I'm going to drag this in there. I really don't know what I did that ended up making that highlight that. But it was something I was doing when I was shifting the sizes of these. But go ahead, play with it, see what you've got, and then you end up with a the result of this. And what you need to do is you need to come in and you need to publish it. So when you choose this, I'm going to call it Spotify Lab. And then I'm going to choose publish. It's going to go through and it's going to publish that. It's going to publish it so that you can then share it. And what we need to do is go in and look at how to share that. Now, when we created the Create a Viz, when we chose that Create a Viz, it put us into a web authoring page. What we want to do is we want to exit that web authoring. That's going to bring you back to your profile, and it's going to list that. It's going to show it right there. So now what we need to do is we need to go in and share that. We do that by closing that side window, and then you'll come up here and you'll see the share. When you click on the share, there's an option to get a link or an embed code. We want to use the link. So copy that link, and then that's what you're going to turn in. So one of the things that you need to do at this point, you've got the link in your notebook, the notepad right now, or the place where you can paste from. Go to a new in private window, paste that URL in there, and this is going to let you see what anybody in the public is able to see. So if you do this and it does not bring up your visualization, then you know you've got it wrong. But there you go. So it's bringing it up. So that's how you test it, by creating an in private window. Because if you send me this and it isn't set to publicly work or be publicly viewable, then I'm not going to be able to see it. So I'm going to close this in private window. And then you take that same code that you just did in the in private window, and that's what you turn in. You turn in that URL, and then I will be able to come in and view your work. So have fun with this. It doesn't have to be exactly like mine. You don't have to use the same metrics. You don't have to use the same dimensions. But I do want you to set up a dashboard with data from 3 lists, whatever you want to look at within those. And it's fine if you use the same ones as I do. What we're learning here is the process. And the thing is, with the process, the content's going to change every time, but learning the process of how do I import data into Tableau from Spotify, in this case, it's not always going to be from Spotify, and make that so that it's publicly visible. So that's what you'll turn in, and hope you enjoy this lab. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.